Hello. We are asking schools to collaborate with us as we make evidence-based decisions about grades for each student in each subject across Cambridge IGCSE, O-Level, AS and A-Level and Cambridge Pre-U. I'm Zoe Neville-Smith, Communications Manager at Cambridge International. I'm joined once again by Rachel Bateman, who is our Senior Assessment Advisor, Assessment Standards and Quality. Rachel is here today to talk through some of the questions that schools have around predicting grades for their students. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Zoe.
Okay, let's start by talking about predicting grades across a syllabus's components. So, Rachel, we know that schools are asking how to predict grades at syllabus level, where evidence available doesn't cover all the components of the syllabus. So this can include missing evidence for components such as practical tests or speaking tests. What advice do you have for them?
Well, subject teachers should predict grades based on the evidence that's available to them. You don't need to conduct a detailed marking exercise for each component of a syllabus. Instead, you should predict a grade based on how the evidence available demonstrates the assessment objectives of the syllabus, even if this evidence is incomplete. If there's no evidence of the candidate's attainment in a particular area of the syllabus, then you should assume the candidate's performance in this area based on the level of performance in other aspects of the syllabus for which you do have evidence.
So based on what you've said, to be clear, should centres be predicting separate endorsement marks for first language English and English as a second language as well as their syllabus grades?
No, we won't be producing endorsed grades for the June 2020 series, so subject teachers do not need to predict grades for aspects of the syllabus that are separately endorsed.
So when predicting the grade, a teacher might judge that a candidate would have improved significantly by the time they come to sit the exam, meaning that the evidence available might suggest a lower predicted grade than the one the school had submitted. How will Cambridge International treat this judgment?
Well, subject teachers should determine predicted grades and rank orders based on the evidence available to them about the most likely grade the candidate would have received if the June 2020 exams had taken place. If they don't have evidence of a candidate's performance at a particular grade, then they should not predict this grade for the candidate. It's also worth bearing in mind that predicted grades shouldn't be arrived at in the following ways. So don't apply a target grade that you might have set during the course to encourage a student to apply themselves, because these target grades are often higher than the grade the candidate would actually have achieved. Also, don't produce a prediction of what the candidate could have achieved on a good day if all the questions on the question paper had been in their area of greatest strength, and similarly, don't send a prediction of what the candidate could have achieved on a bad day if all the questions had been in their area of greatest weakness.
Okay. And how should schools predict for candidates who have special educational needs or disabilities, who would have had access arrangements and or maybe even modified papers in the exam?
Yeah, if your candidate was due to use access arrangements in the June 2020 series, then their predicted grade should be the grade that they would be most likely to achieve, assuming that they had continued to receive their usual level of learning support and with these access arrangements in place for the June 2020 examinations.
We've heard from schools who have a combination of their own students and private candidates entered for a syllabus, and this can mean there's quite differing levels of evidence available for each candidate. How can the centre reliably predict grades for both groups?
Well, subject teachers should make decisions about predicted grades and rank orders based on the evidence that's available to them, but we know that you might have different amounts and types of evidence. The important thing is to make a judgment and comparison based on the quality of the work demonstrated in the evidence that's available to you. Private candidates should only be included in a centre's predicted grades and rank orders if the subject teacher has enough evidence to give them confidence about the candidate's level of performance.
Okay. And how can schools predict grades consistently when there is more than one teacher teaching the same syllabus?
If more than one teacher has taught the syllabus at your school, then where possible, the teachers should work together to make sure that their judgments have been applied consistently across classes and to private candidates. In many cases, this will need to be done through something like a conference call. You might find it easier for one teacher, such as the head of department, to lead this process. This check will make sure that all the candidates at your school have been judged fairly for the syllabus. And during this check, some of the predicted grades your teachers may have given might need to be changed in order to make sure that all the judgments are consistent.
Cambridge International publishes grade thresholds after the exam series. So this means schools don't have grade thresholds for syllabuses that are new or updated. So how can centres predict grades based on the 2020 format of a syllabus?
Well, when you're determining predicted grades, please take a holistic approach to assessing your candidate's performance. It's not necessary to try to collect evidence that's directly equivalent to all of the requirements of the assessment. So, for example, teachers are not expected to conduct detailed marking of each component. Instead, teachers need to evaluate the evidence of the candidate's performance that's available and provide a predicted grade based on how this evidence demonstrates the objectives of the course. In some subjects, the June 2020 examination may have included some changes from previous years. So, for example, different syllabus content, revised assessment objectives and criteria. However, the performance standard required to achieve each grade is the same as in June 2019. We are asking teachers to look at this performance standard rather than trying to assess candidates by providing marks for the evidence available and then trying to convert these marks into grades. If the syllabus is new for June 2020 and has not been assessed before, you should use the syllabus and support materials available to you to help you to make your judgments. You can find the support materials for the subject on the School Support Hub. And these materials include specimen question papers and mark schemes, and in some cases, example candidate responses. We're not expecting you to give these specimen papers to your candidates and to mark them. Instead, use them as a guide to the sorts of questions the new syllabus would be asking.
Thank you, Rachel. And finally, how can centres predict grades for an unfamiliar grade set? So say they're used to predicting for A star to G, but they're now trying to predict for 9 to 1, or vice versa.
If this is the first series for which you've made an entry in this syllabus, having previously used the version of the syllabus which is graded with the A star to G grade set, then you should bear in mind that the syllabus requirements are exactly the same and that we have direct alignment between some of the grades on the two grade sets. So the threshold of grade 7 is the same as the threshold of grade A. The threshold of grade 4 is the same as the threshold of grade C, and the threshold of grade 1 is the same as the threshold of grade G. You might find it helpful to look at the grade thresholds from the June 2019 series to compare other grades on the two grade sets. I should also say that for Cambridge IGCSE subjects where there are two syllabuses, one graded on the A star to G grade set, the other on the 9 to 1 grade set, once you submit your predicted grades and rank orders, we will be combining each school's data for both syllabuses. And this combined data set will be used alongside other evidence, including predicted grades and rank orders in the statistical standardisation process.
I hope this has helped. Thank you for your patience as we have developed and communicated our steps in setting grades for students. If you have any other questions about Cambridge International's response to COVID-19, please visit cambridgeinternational.org/COVID. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Zoe.